Hey guys, long time no see and happy Yuletide period. I just want to make this video to confess a couple of things about what's been going on and the content that I'm going to be making in the future. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. I've basically been demonetized. Okay, I don't really know why, it's just me in particular. I'm a pretty small subliminal channel, as you guys know, so I don't know why YouTube has targeted me in particular, because I've not violated any more guidelines than any other subliminal maker, but I've been demonetized, which isn't an issue because it wasn't really my main source of income to begin with, and I was putting subliminals out there to help you guys for free anyway. It was more of a kind of a hobby, so that's not really an issue. However, it has made me question whether I should do some different content now. And after having experimented with the visual subliminals and also the audio subliminals, I've actually found the visual subliminals to be much stronger. In fact, if I watch a visual subliminal for about 10 minutes in the morning and at night, I'll get pretty much instant results throughout the day. I've made another money visual subliminal, and it just makes me feel really warm, like all my chakras just warm up and I just manifest like that. It's very, very strong, and when I've used a couple of my audio subliminals, it normally takes perhaps like 1 to 2 days before I actually see like results, and sometimes results are very up in the air. I don't really know when I'm going to get something I'm going to receive, something from the universe, I'm going to manifest what I want. And with visual subliminals, it just manifests faster. And I want to get into the science of why. Okay, because I've been doing a lot of research about the way the mind works, and this is what I've found. So, as we all know, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. Right hemisphere is very subconscious, right? But audio subliminals don't actually communicate to the subconscious in the way it understands. Yes, it's subliminal. Yes, your conscious mind can understand it, and subconscious can. However, it isn't the best mode of communication. For those of you who are really into the mind, we all know that the best mode of communication for the subconscious mind is images, is visual stimuli, which is why visual subliminals work faster. But it's very difficult to put words into images sometimes. An image can say 1,000 words, but words can't really depict an image, like the, for example. You don't have a representation for the. So this is why we use audio subliminals, because it is more specific. As opposed to the visual subliminals, which the subconscious mind really has to interpret for itself. It has to be very, very clear in order for us to manifest anything. However, manifesting things like money, for example, or objects, or even people, and even specific people, you can incorporate into a visual subliminal. So when I tested visual subliminals with all these external things, they have worked much faster. But that's pretty much the reason. The reason is because the subconscious understands visual stimuli more than it does audio stimuli. So I'm pretty much going to be making another channel dedicated to this visual stimuli because it is much stronger. And not only that, I'm probably going to bypass a lot of the YouTube watchdogs, I think, because it is visual. With the audio one, you don't really know what's going into it. The visual one you can see, right? And for those subliminal makers who are watching my channel and who've been trying to like glean the secrets out of me, right, of how I make my subliminals, the visual stimuli is pretty easy to replicate, I'd say. You've got to know a lot though. There's a lot that goes into visual stimuli. For example, I put sacred geometry into it. I put sometimes even magic, just because, well, I am Wiccan and I know the way the universe works. Magic, pretty much, let's just explain it here. works on symbolism, and it uses that symbolism to communicate to the subconscious. So we use elements, for example, and elements is symbolic of the elements of nature, the elements of the universe, and using those elements in conjunction to manifest what you want. So magic is pretty much predicated on symbolism, and I use that in a lot of my visual subliminals, but I'm going to be making a separate channel for that, just because I believe it works better. And trust me, it is very humbling for me as a subliminal maker who's very, very passionate about subliminal technology to say it might not be the strongest thing out there, okay? It is very humbling for me to say, okay, maybe I was wrong. It is getting more powerful, but there are limitations to it. And a lot of people in the comment section, when I read them, have said, okay, well, I don't get results and I don't know why I get results, and there are these blockages, and one of the blockages was obviously engrams, which I put in another video, but there are different blockages as well, and that is a main one, is the fact that the subconscious only understands visual stimuli, mainly. So you want to really communicate in a language that it understands. And the really interesting thing about visual stimuli is that the army use it. The army use it to memorize things. So they use flashing images, so it goes directly to the subconscious. That's another way to manipulate yourself visually, is to just flash something very, very fast in front of yourself. But to obviously include what it is that you want to manifest. However, I've realised when I use flashing imagery with words, it doesn't necessarily have a strong effect, because the words, even though they are visual, it's not really what the subconscious understands. The left hemisphere understands words, it is the logical part, but the right hemisphere understands images. It doesn't really understand language per se, it's not where language is located. So we basically have to find a way to encode language within an image. So if you wanted, for example, to attract prosperity, you'd construct an image based on like really fancy house and a car and a really luxurious lifestyle, and somewhere abroad maybe, something like that, and you'd flash it to yourself consecutively. However, this doesn't really manifest it to you, it is only part of the visual stimuli, because I'm not going to tell you how I make my visual subliminals, right? Because like I said in another video, if you really want to find out how to manipulate the mind, do your own research, experiment. And that is one of the techniques I incorporate into my visual subliminals, is this idea of flashing imagery, right? Because it bypasses a lot of the conscious sort of mechanisms that we use in order to safeguard ourselves from being overwhelmed with information. So that is another thing. I also do magic. I love to incorporate magic, to be fair, in my subliminals, because it is just symbolism, it is just imagery, and that's what Wicca is. In principle, it is just using like things that are visual and communicating to the subconscious, okay, I want this thing, and I'm going to imagine this thing. So I'm going to be making a channel for that, and I'm also going to be making a channel for magic spells as well, to teach you guys, if you want to know the symbolism of the subconscious mind, then I'll teach you it. And I'm probably going to make another channel for Reiki as well. So this place you see here is my clinic, and it's where I do Reiki in person for people, and massage as well. Also Dianetic therapy, which is just getting rid of all the subconscious pain from your mind. So this is my business, my physical business, and obviously what I do online with Fiverr, the Subliminals and the Reiki, I have that as well. So if you do want to kind of purchase anything like magic spells, for example, Reiki or Subliminals, and even visual Subliminals now, because I'm doing those, then you can go to Fiverr. But this is just kind of a brief heads up that I might not be as active on this channel, just because I found something better that works and it's more effective, and I think that more people would get more benefit out of it. So I probably still am going to make audio subliminals, but I'm going to focus more on the other side of things, because personally, okay, I use those things to manifest what I want in life. Like, I use those things to manifest my business and to increase my prosperity, and to get certain things. I use the visual subliminals, I use magic. Okay, I don't really use many audio subliminals these days because I found a better way of attracting what I want in my life. So this is my confession to you all, and if you want to check that out, I'll be making some channels in the future, so stay tuned. See you later.